We've received quite a bit of interest in my free to be workshop, so to that effect, beneath this video is a link that will give you a description for the workshop, and we've also included a special discount. So if that's something you would be interested in, I would invite you to click that link, and I hope that you would find the course to be quite beneficial. I suppose that one of the most common questions that I receive regarding the whole topic of narcissism is, Dr. C, how can you really tell if a person is truly narcissistic? And sometimes, by the way, the narcissist will accuse you of being narcissistic. And so you might ask, well, am I the one who's being narcissistic? Now, let's keep in mind that when we talk about narcissism, we're talking about individuals who are very selfish. They have an attitude of entitlement. They're highly controlling and manipulative. They don't have empathy toward another individual. They have an attitude of haughtiness and superiority. They're quite willing to exploit. Now, one of the things that I have mentioned in others of my talk is that probably the characteristic that I will focus on that tells us that a person has crossed over the line into narcissism is that exploitive characteristic. I mean, all of us can have moments where we're controlling or selfish or manipulative or don't have enough understanding, but healthy individuals can see it enough to where they think, whoa, wait a minute, I know that possibility is in me and I'm not going to let it run with me. And so we can contain it. But if we had to zero in on one single pattern that would tell us this is what narcissism is, this is the centerpiece of what narcissism is, you would see that it's an offshoot of this exploitiveness, and it's simply this. Narcissists are very willing to elevate oneself by diminishing others. That's the centerpiece, elevating oneself by diminishing others. Now, if you were to say that to that narcissist and say, well, you know, I can tell where you're coming from because you're doing that, you know what they would say, don't you? You don't know what you're talking about, or that's not what I do. And that, of course, would only cause you to come back and say, you just proved my point. You just diminished me and you're elevating yourself over me. It's central to what they do. So if you want to know if a person has that strong narcissistic bent, that's the way we can zero in on it. Now, to give you an idea of how pervasive this is and how this truly is central, I've jotted down a lot of illustrations of how this can play out. This one theme of elevation of self at others' expense has many, many different manifestations. Let me run through quite a few of them for you, and then I want you to kind of do a little checklist in your mind to get an idea of what you might be up against with certain individuals in your life. For example, one of the ways that narcissists will show this particular pattern, and this is picking low-lying fruit, is they offer easy criticism. They're experts, if you will, at finding fault in other individuals, elevating self by letting you know you don't measure up. Another, these individuals will approach other people as if they are either an asset to them or simply a transaction. That's it. Period. End of discussion. They may say that they love people or they have friendships, but ultimately it's like only as long as you're utile, only as long as you're useful to me. And so you're an asset. You're not an insider. You're not a friend. As long as you serve them and do their bidding, you're on the team. Another illustration of how they elevate themselves and diminish others is they have no regard for personal boundaries, your personal boundaries. And when we talk about boundaries, we talk about you having your own definition of who you are, the priorities, the preferences, the opinions you have. And narcissists are quite willing to say, I don't care about your boundaries. I don't care about those priorities or opinions. You mean nothing to them. And again, they're up, you're down. Or another illustration of how this pattern plays out is they can have a constant tendency towards guilt tripping you. And this includes shame and belittlement. I mean, they may say things or imply things like, How dare you come against me? Or do you realize how ridiculous you sound or how ridiculous you are? It's that kind of put down meant to make you feel badly about who you are. Yet another way that they demonstrate this pattern is motivation, if that's the right word, via sarcasm. They can give you all these different ridiculing comments and mocking comments, insulting you. And the goal they have there is to just make you think, I don't even want to say anything because they'll just make fun of me or they'll put me in a down position. And they're thinking, exactly, that's what I do. Or yet another way that this pattern is played out is they can have a pervasive, passive non-cooperation with you. If an idea originates from within themselves, it's like, yeah, we'll do that. But if you have ideas or preferences or patterns or styles that you want to zero in on, it's like, why would I cooperate with you? And so these individuals can be, they can just ignore you, or they can take the input that you gave them and do nothing about it and just go on with their own way. Very passive aggressive. Another way that's very similar to this is narcissists can be very evasive. And through their evasiveness or some of the secretiveness that goes along with it, what they're implying is, what I do is better than what you want me to do. You just don't need to know who I am. And I'm not going to let you know because you're not good enough. You're not an insider as far as I'm concerned. Yet another way that they show that they elevate themselves while diminishing others is they have many demands and requirements. I wonder how many times you've thought, well, I'm going to be with that narcissistic person. I'm not sure exactly what they are going to require me today, except I know they will, because they constantly come at you with you must, or you need to, or you better, or you're supposed to. And it's like, and I never am going to be able to please them because the list just keeps growing. And they keep reminding me that the next time I do something, they're going to explain to me what I'm supposed to do anyway. In addition, another way that they elevate themselves is they will convey the notion that implies my opinion, my belief system is the only one that matters. And then when you come along and say, well, I've been thinking about some things and I've arrived at different conclusions, they'll let you know in no uncertain terms. Yeah, and you're wrong too. Elevate, diminish. Okay. Now, yet another way that they will play out the pattern, and I'm sure that you've been on the receiving end of this one, is that they will weaponize anger. Now, one of the things that I believe is that there are times when it's just natural to have a feeling of anger. When something goes counter to what you wanted, or somebody's being negative or insulting. But there's a healthy way that you can manage the anger. There's nothing healthy, though, about a narcissist management of anger. They have a tone of voice that can be harsh and mean-spirited. They can be overwhelming. They can rage. They can make you so sorry that you ever said anything. They can hold grudges, hold you in contempt. That's what I'm talking about when I say they're going to weaponize it. Now, speaking of tone of voice, another way that they illustrate the pattern is that they speak with insistent and persuasive communication. It's one thing to say, why don't we talk with each other? But the narcissists, when they have something to say, notice their tone of voice. And it's very, they're trying to pull you into their way of thinking. And there's a discounting element that goes along with that. Now, having said that, there's yet another part of this that you'll see very commonly, and that is they feel no need to know or appreciate or understand another individual's backstory. When someone comes towards them with a difference or has a lifestyle preference or a worldview that doesn't agree with them, it's like, I don't need to tolerate that. Why would I want to do that? They think that if they show tolerance or if they show acceptance, that means they're condoning, which it doesn't need to do that. But instead, it's like, and I don't want to really know who you are. I don't want to know how you've arrived at your conclusions. Why would I need to know that? You're inadequate anyway. And they go straight into judgment mode. They will other people who don't think as they do. Now, on top of that, yet another way that the pattern is played out is they're very willing to humiliate you. They don't mind pulling you down in front of other individuals or making you feel lower than low. It's like, you need to know how low you are, and I don't mind letting you know as often as the case may require, at least in their minds. And then in addition to all of that, they can hold grudges. And when I say hold grudges, they'll do it for a long time. Lots of contempt that resides on the inside. That's quite a few different illustrations that I could actually add more. But do you understand that every single thing that I'm mentioning here has that one theme right at the very center of it all? And that is, you're a nobody, I'm the somebody. I elevate myself by diminishing you. And you're over there thinking, well, don't I matter at all? It's like, not in my world, not unless you just get completely in my orbit and go straight along with what I say. So do you understand why then I say that this one single pattern is actually the centerpiece of narcissism? All of the many different things that illustrate the control and the selfishness and the manipulation, lack of empathy, is tainted by this one single pattern. When a person is caught up in their narcissism, it reveals that they have a pathological sense of selfishness. It's all about me, and you are less than me. You're just in my way. They don't care about who you are. They can't even fathom about the need to learn about your interior or why you think as you do. Their goal is very simple, and that is they want to wear you down. They want to wear down your resolve. They want to wear you down emotionally. They want to stir up your instability. They want to create doubt on the inside of you, and then they can look at you and say, there you go, ladies and gentlemen, Exhibit A. That person is inferior to me. Now, if you want to see somebody who's the best, right here, that's me. Now, when you see this, and it's kind of hard once you're able to understand this, you can't unsee it, words like arrogance or insensitivity or condescending, frankly, aren't even adequate enough. There's another word that goes right along with this whole pattern, and that's the word dehumanization. They don't even want to see your humanity. They're too full of themselves, and as a result, you're not even worth the effort to try to get to know. Now, all of this I'm saying is pretty sad, but I'm hoping that as you go back to that question, well, how do you know if a person's narcissistic or not? This one pattern is going to show up in so many different ways. When you see it, then know that you're in the presence of someone who's a very unhealthy person, and that does not need to be anyone who's going to be in the center of your decision making. They don't need to be in your inner circle. Make your plans accordingly. Now, I do hope that videos such as this can give you some good awareness about what you may be dealing with. If you've not already hit that subscribe button, I would encourage you to do so, and we're going to keep more videos coming towards you, and I hope that it can be a part of your educational process so that you can make efforts to be on Team Healthy and be that better alternative. If you have a need for therapy, and many times when you're dealing with something like this, it's good to have someone to help you unpack it. I've been sponsored for years by the people at BetterHelp.com. They're a whole team of licensed professional therapists. It's online, and so that means it's very accessible, and they tend to get to you very quickly. And it's affordable, it's effective. I've gotten good feedback from people who've used that. Please, as the need is there, go down below the video here. You'll see a link to their website. Click through that, and you'll get a 10% discount on the first month. Get the help that you would deserve. Likewise, I have classes. These are online courses, and they're meant to expound on some of the themes that I have here in a much larger way. I put a lot of work into them and require a lot of work from you. If you like doing stuff like that, then check the courses out. Like 25 videos per course, written documentation, guided questions. We have Ready, Set, Connect about having healthy connections. This is me establishing good boundaries, free to be, finding yourself despite those controllers. And then in addition to that, on our website, we also have access to the webinars that I've presented, as well as access to my podcast, books, many articles, plenty of resources. Okay, if you're wanting to know what you're dealing with, watch for that tendency for the narcissist to say, I'm going to elevate myself and I'm going to diminish you. You know that you're in the presence of someone who's very unhealthy. I lost Gus on that. I think he went to check and see who's at the door. I do want you to be a person of steadiness. I want you to be a person who's learning so that you can be the kind of person that doesn't diminish other individuals, but you're the kind of person that generates and perpetuates a lifestyle that's anchored in peace.